Welcome to another episode of the Built Different podcast, the podcast that is for tradies that are built different. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm Simon, just a carpentry apprentice who is looking to expand their horizons. So today in the studio, joining us, we have Matt Findlay. Now, Matt is a self-proclaimed building Nepo baby who has never imagined following his father's footsteps, but now runs Findlay Constructions with his dad down in Batemans Bay. Matty, thanks very much for joining us.
Welcome to the show.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Good stuff.
So, really quick one.
Yes.
Before we dive in, you were telling us about your nutritious breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
What was it? Can you fill us in?
Well, being on the road all the time as a builder, it's not an easy job to stop in the morning and cook yourself a nice nutritious breakfast. So for me personally, nice meat pie and a dare iced coffee.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, there it is. That's good.
Was there sauce though?
No sauce. I'm not one to do sauce on patisseries because they've been constructed to a T.
Oh, they got the gravy.
What's your go-to then?
Nothing. It is built as it's supposed to be built. The pie is crusty on top.
No, but what type of pie? What type of pie?
So I used to be a Mrs. Max pie.
Yep.
Now things are different.
Oh God,
We're all about the 4 and 20, bro. Yeah, 4 and 20s. They've got my tick of approval now. I'm all about
Really?
them.
All
That's
right.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Matty, the other thing I want to point out, and for those of you who can't see, if you're just listening to this, you've got some strapping tape on your arm. Looks like physio tape.
Yeah.
Tell us about what's going on here.
Okay, so something it's running rampant in the industry
Yeah.
is incorrect holding or positioning of a drill. Some people call it golf elbow, but I don't play golf, right? Well, once a year. At the end of the year, drinks, we do golf. But for me, apparently it's running rampant in the industry at the moment, holding your drill kind of sideways.
So with your elbow up.
Elbow up, extended like that, and just putting pressure on it. The weight of the drill, putting pressure on that, it's not good for the elbow. So bringing that back down and putting force straight like
In
that.
front of you. Yeah, right. So keep
Who would
your
have
elbow
thought?
down.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
There you go.
I know a lot about holding drills, so
Oh, here we go.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
We're not going to get started
one
on
of those
that.
types.
we shouldn't.
Now, Ryan, do you want to tell us about what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, look, today is really all about one of the main motivators for why people join the industry and something that a lot of young tradies aspire to, and that's building your own home. So that's something that I think that Matt can tell us a thing or two about.
And before we jump into that then, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you have come to be where you are today?
Yeah, so my father started his construction company, I'd say about 40 years ago, down in Melbourne.
Yep.
We moved up to sleepy Batemans Bay at the time and struggled doing construction work because it was a pretty small town at the time back in 94.
Yep.
And during those years, as a youngling, I was going on site and working with him, and I hated dry hands, dirty hands, doing bricklaying. Oh, Dad, I'm not going to do bricklaying, or I'm not going to do carpentry. And I was like, if you lost me on the job site, look for the closest tap because I'll be there just washing my hands, keeping dry.
Hang on. Oh, they look pretty good today.
I'm a builder now.
Yeah.
Not on the tools as
There
much.
it is, yep.
So yeah, I never was going to be in construction. And then went down to Ballarat Uni and started studying primary teaching because, what else are you going to do if you're not going to do building? It's working with kids, right? So I tried that out, realised that kids aren't really the best type of people these days. It just wasn't for
Not
me.
your thing.
No, so I was like, leave this, go travel around the world, find yourself. Didn't find myself, found myself back in Batemans Bay working with my old man. I was like, this I can do.
At the ripe old age of what?
At the ripe old age of 25.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I still, to this day, I can drive past my first job where I thought, and that's where it clicked for me. There's a sleeve on a post, and I'm like, and I thought of the idea. It was, and I still drive past and I'm like, oh.
You put the sleeve on.
Yep. I built that.
I did that. Yeah, and to this day, it's loving it.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
So you started your apprenticeship at 25 then?
Yeah.
It's a mature age apprenticeship,
Yeah.
working for your dad. And what was your experience between, your apprenticeship, 3-4 years, and then going on to work for your dad, get your license. And tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, so it was interesting going to TAFE with all the 16 to 18-year-olds and being, you're still kind of in the mindset of being a child, really. But yeah, it's because you've got yourself kind of switched on, this is the path that you're going to go with.
Yep.
You kind of listen a lot more at TAFE and you're like, okay, good, yep, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you come out at the end and, yeah, you're in it. You're in the industry, which was really nice to get into. And the goal at the end for me was, because I saw my dad, he built our house, when I was a child. And for me, it was like, I really want to be able to do that myself.
Yep.
And well, now I have, I've started really is building our home with myself and my wife. So
that was really inspirational at the time, seeing what your dad had achieved there. That really lit the fire with you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, seeing if he can do it, surely I can. No, no, it takes a lot, and being able to have your influence inside the construction, like that self-satisfaction of building something yourself. And I saw how much pride he had in his house.
Yep.
And he could stand back, and at the end of the day, you work for other people all year, but then you can come home and say, looks all right.
Yeah, it's a really unique and beautiful part about the residential building industry, and something you can sit back and go, yeah, I built that, and I built this, and I can now live in it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that little self-satisfaction really goes a long way.
So you mentioned when you were at TAFE, you kind of you had a vision in mind. You had a purpose of, you knew why you were there, and you're there to get it done.
Yeah.
So do you think that played, that was the difference between entering as a mature age apprentice and sort of a school leaver or something like that?
Yeah, I think because I'd gone out and done all these, like from primary teaching to bartending, traveling around. You've lived all these other little lives, and going in mature and having that mindset is like, I'm not taking anything away from 16, 18-year-old going, this is my
absolutely.
course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great that they know that this is what they want to do.
Yep.
But for me, it was I've done all that, not for me.
Yep.
And this is where I want to go.
Yeah, and I suppose for the young people that are at TAFE, having purpose to why they're there is going to help them keep going through it and get to the end of it.
Yeah. I strongly recommend if you're going to TAFE, do little projects around the house.
Yeah.
Because that's where it starts. Make a raised veggie box at home, or fix up the sink.
Yeah.
Yeah. It a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, just kind of scratch the surface of that feeling that you end up chasing.
That's right. Yeah. It's a great feeling to have.
It's also the initiative that you take at home, and how you learn that and apply that, and how you plan out those jobs yourself, and whether it be, what do I need for this? How do I actually make this happen? And taking that initiative and leaning into it is so important, because when you are on the job site, no one's there to look after you. You have to be leaning in to make the most of the experience, to learn, to be growing your career and investing in yourself.
Yeah. It's really great to do that.
Tell us about the experience that you've had with building your dream home. How has that been?
So my wife and I did it, and everyone was always asking, how many fights have you had with, how many arguments, how'd you get? I went ridiculously well. For some reason, we've just clicked and gone, yep, that's a great idea. Yep, that's a great idea. And it wasn't just me going, yep, that's a great idea. Yeah. Yep, that's a great, just to keep it going.
Yeah.
Helps to be on the same page.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, we both helped each other out. She's a maths teacher. So I thought, I'm going to have to do a lot of this, lugging it around. Yep. But there were a couple of times, so we used these blocks that would interlock with each other to do our construction. Yep. And I went on to a Bucks weekend, and she sent me progress of her stacking these blocks together, getting them all straightened up, and I was like, I've picked a winner. I've picked a winner here. So we've done quite well with each other, and
shared the load.
And also I've been teaching her as well, which kind of, I don't get to do a lot of teaching on the site as much, because I'm either quoting in the office or running to different jobs.
Yep.
And that was a little bit of extra motivation to be able to teach someone else that doesn't quite know what goes on behind the industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a really good point. I mean, I think that's a really good segue into, there's so much that goes on that you do where you're not on the tools now in transitioning to being the builder and running the company. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that has, lived up to your expectations or not?
Like I always knew that paperwork was the bane of every builder's life, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, compared
It's
to...
not what you get into it for,
It's definitely not.
but it's such a huge part of it.
That's right, yeah. And from 10 years ago to now, it's just going up and up and up. There's a lot more paperwork that you got to fill out, and it is difficult. It does take a lot of steam out of your train of work, but it's part of the industry. But it also goes back to, when you do get to a position of being a builder and you've got quotes and such, doing those little doing those little projects at home keeps that fire going.
Yeah.
So just know that there's a lot of paperwork, but it's
But
worth it.
technology's coming in, right? Like, I mean, there's so much technology coming into the industry and so many different, softwares and that sort of thing that can help make your life easier.
Yeah. And you see, I've worked with some blokes who still writing everything down on paper, and you're like, look, me coming from a corporate background, I at least know my way around a spreadsheet and going, I know that I can set up something that is going to make this easier because it's a repetitive task that will spit out the answers that I need, that I'm not going to have this piece of paper flying around and it's right there and it's in my pocket, it's on my phone. And then like just embracing that and how that can just fast track, simplify your processes and streamline things. It makes a huge difference.
Something that I've kind of struggled with by having my father is the old school. Everything's written down on paper.
Yeah.
Someone's in the office and you call them up, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like there's not enough marketing or advertising of the new apps, products for those guys that have learnt off the old hands.
Yeah.
And like still I'll write everything down in the diary, call up someone, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure there are apps, but I just don't know. And then I've just hired a new fella. Yep. Oh, Kingy, and he just knows about all these apps because he's been kind of in the city. I'm from the country. Everything's pretty relaxed down in the country there.
If you've always been working for your dad as well, like you haven't had exposure to other builders and other ways of doing things.
That's right.
So you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. Yeah, and which does worry me at times. But by having new influencers, like new employees that are from more tech savvy areas.
But how do you find your approach to the take on this new technology? Versus maybe say your dad is probably might be a little more old school towards it. Do you find that Kingy comes up with this this new idea or way to do it? Are you embracing it?
Duck to water, mate.
Love to see it.
Yeah. Here's like I don't know, a duck in a landfill or something like that. He just doesn't know what's going on. He's like, I see him typing on his phone, trying to, and it's just one finger. And I'm like, don't worry, mate, I got this. Type it out. So I'm all for the tech. Give me all the tech that's possible to make the job easier. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, whatever's easier does help.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. And taking on new perspectives within the business and bringing on apprentices particularly. I mean, that's new, like a newer, younger generation coming through.
Yep.
Are you finding that, through your experience with the different apprentices that you've had on board, that has influenced as well?
I haven't found that yet. I'm sure it will come up in the future. Mm-hmm. But because it's a kind of small town, country area, it's not like the apprentices come up with innovative technology.
Yeah.
Because they don't know anything else. But if they do, please bring it. Bring it if you know something that I don't know, bring it and tell me because knowledge is power.
Yeah. But it's good that you're open to those ideas and people can bring that to the table and then being open to taking it on board. That's huge.
Yeah.
What do you look for in an apprentice coming through?
So when we do a little trial, see how they go with the crew, because with our company we've had, some of the work has been there for over 10 years, and it's still a family company, and we're kind of a family in itself. So if you click, if you meld with the crew, that's a plus.
Yep.
if you've got that initiative, that's always a positive. But being a first year apprentice, you're always a little bit nervous, sheepish to get into it because you don't want to say anything wrong.
Yep.
But yeah, speak up whenever you think something's not quite right, or you want to just be more. I know it's easy to say have some more initiative.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like that when I was learning. I took on as much as I could when it was the old man, but I just knew what the right soap was to use to wash everything up.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting what you say about fitting in, with the company and the crew and that sort of thing. But do you think that that's really about, realizing that it's not just yourself? And having a bit of an open mindset, and
you're with these guys.
You're working with a team.
Yeah, you're with them for 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
you've got to be able to work as a group and know your strengths and weaknesses with each other.
Yeah.
So, just find the right crew. If it's not for you, if that crew doesn't work for you, get out of there, because if it doesn't feel right, then you start losing that little fire turns down, and so jump ship, find another one.
And you know a little bit about that.
About
jumping ship,
as in building,
your own house. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the date: 2019, 2020, bushfires. Bit of a sad story.
Yeah.
So family home, my wife and I were going to move into there, burnt down.
Oh.
So we were over in the UK. Mum and Dad were in New Zealand.
No.
Everything gone.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, so looks like we're not moving into the family home. So, we were flying over to Albania, and we thought, all right, let's start drafting. There's nothing we can do about it. It's gone.
Wow.
Let's start from scratch. So that's where it came from. There were points that they were like, all right, let's extend the home. But that was going to be difficult. You don't want to ask permission every time. Hey, Mum, I'm just going to knock down the study wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be like games room. Yeah. So it's blessing in disguise, because we get to now make our own imprint on the family property.
Yeah.
So kind of a sucky situation,
but it sounds bittersweet, right? Because
100%. Yeah.
Was it always the plan to? I mean, you said that building your own home is such a big motivator for getting into the business. Was that always the plan?
It was always a plan to build on the family plot of land.
Yep.
It's a cracking spot.
Yeah.
So I was like, stoked. We're going to take it to the next level.
Yep.
Upstairs, perfect view of the ocean. Bellissimo.
Great.
But 2020 kind of took a turn for the worst, I guess.
Yeah.
And and that's where we thought there's nothing we can do about it. Let's
get
onwards and upwards.
Get it done.
Yeah.
And so far we're getting her done.
Oh,
How did you find the process of managing work and then managing that project at home and being at your work, simply you're delegating more, just kind of calling the shots, but then actually probably being more involved at home? Have you found balancing those couple of things?
It's stressful.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to get into your house, but you also don't want to take your trades or other trades off the other projects.
You got to keep them ticking over.
That's right. Yeah. My house isn't going to pay the bills.
Yep.
So, but it's been hard. But at the end of the day, when what we've built and now what we're in, it's amazing. We had a good Christmas break where it was. I just took some extra time off and we just slogged it out every day, every weekend. Doing weekends every other week, the past year, I had a bit of a struggle on it. But
have you got any tips on how to prioritise during that time?
Keep your partner happy. It's like with your business, that's number one with a bullet, because that's what's keeping the other boys busy, keeping everyone's family afloat. Really is keep them busy.
Yep.
Priority was the business, which kind of sucked, because you see just a little chipping away. It just didn't feel like you were getting anywhere.
Yeah.
But that big spurt over the Christmas break really helped, and you go, we're nearly there.
Yep.
So how important is it in your business to have the right people that you're giving direction to, say your lead carpenters?
Yeah. Amazing. It's been such a great thing to have those aged, experienced guys who have been in there, and you can put the young guns with them because, you're getting up to 50 years old. They're not lifting up cladding like they used to, and sheets. And so, having the old guard there with the brains and the young guard with the brawn, it does help a good little mix there. And, those old guys, they know some things.
Oh, 100%.
So hopefully that gets passed through as opposed to just in one ear out the other with the young ones.
Yeah.
So,
and is there any part of your house that you refuse to build yourself?
What was it? It was painting. It was painting.
Do you want to do the painting?
Yeah. I've done painting before, but I've got a really good mate, and we just over the night time just sprayed it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cut in. I'm not doing that. That's just just tedious work. I tell you what, that was probably one of the easiest selections with the wife as well. Was picking the right color for the walls. There's like 30,000 whites.
30 shades of white, yeah.
Oh, jeez. You have them all on the wall there, and this one's blue, and this one's green.
For the record, what white did you go with?
Great question. That's a great question.
Do you remember?
No. It's a white. It was like Arctic snow or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that was the second last one. I threw that out because it looked too blue at the end.
Oh, yeah.
But now, love it. Love it. It's
great.
You can't go with Don't go with Lexicon quarter.
No, go Lexicon half. And literally, Ryan's looking at me like, what are you guys talking about?
You're talking a language, right?
For everyone else's build, it's fine. But I just think it's too cold and stark. You need a nice, warm colour to get home to at the end of the day.
Look, and a little tip for anyone at home is looking to use Lexicon quarter. If you use Lexicon half, it looks exactly the same, but you need one less coat. So, take that one with you.
I'm going to pass that tip on. Thanks for that. The painter will probably tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm taking business out of his mouth, food out of his mouth.
So just talking about building your own house again, is there anything that you learned throughout that process so far that you wish, or is there something that you wish you knew before you got into it?
One thing that I did learn was, even though I've been off the tools, it's still there.
Yep.
And it was like, I can still
it's like riding a bike.
Yeah, I completely. There was a point in time where it was just quotes, paperwork, blah 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 blah, and I was like, have I still got it?
Can I still do it? Yeah.
Yeah. And, you're knocking up your own frames, and
because it's not what you get into it for.
No, that's right. And that's what it was. That was a nice little an affirmation or reaffirming. Sorry, that I was like, I've still got this. Yeah. And I know of a couple of youngsters that have got their qualification and have dropped it, and they've gone, I've dropped it. I've done something else, and I don't think I can do it anymore.
Yep.
You can do it. When you get back on there, you'll realize, it's like riding a bike. Yeah. But with the tool belt.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to push through, and every day is not easy. Like, you will have your tough days, and you will be challenged. But it's if you can believe in yourself, be persistent and consistent, you'll get there. You
Consistency
can set those goals.
is key. Yeah.
So one of the questions that's been submitted through our Instagram page that we're asking pretty much everybody that appears on the show: what advice would you have for your younger self?
Just have fun. Like, it's hard work. It's hard work, but geez, it can be fun and bloody rewarding. So stick with it.
Yep.
You'll have your bad days.
Yep.
But geez, those good days are.
Yeah, and I really like that the stick with it mentality. It's so important being within this industry to acknowledge that you are going to have good days, bad days, but as long as you've got a little bit of support, and you can push through it and keep your eyes on the end goal, then it can be very, very rewarding.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that, over this podcast, that are a couple of themes that are coming through, and it's the importance of having that support network around you. And then, when you do go through those tough times, embrace the suck, because then you got to come back, you come through the other side, and there are those highs and lows, and the good stuff will be there. It will be worth it in the end. Yeah. And it's not meant to be easy.
No, that's right. Yeah, life's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it.
But there's good stuff there.
Yeah. So, what's next for you, mate? After you finish the build, how long until you finish the build?
Builder's house is never done.
No,
that's what they say, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
I'm sure your partner will have something else to say about that.
Yeah, that's right. She's got a TikTok timeline. Just come on, let's keep on going. No, we're in now. So what we've just done like a little, we've called it a pool house because the old pool's still there, which is great.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So we've just built a little 100 squarey just to get ourselves in there, us and the 2 cats. And then we're making the kind of showroom house behind it.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
But I'm sure
There's
my
always
wife would say,
projects on
like,
the list.
yeah, that's going to be finished by next year.
She's trying to push them up the list. You're trying to manage expectations.
So it's to finish the house, but as I said, builder's house is never done.
That's good.
And what about for Findlay Constructions, do you think?
Onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
It's just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Post fires, we haven't stopped since then.
Yeah.
So hopefully more people get into the industry more.
Yeah.
More kids join up and become carpenters because there is a labour shortage out there.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
stick with it, enjoy it, because it's not hard.
Yeah.
It is hard, but it's also bloody fun.
Yeah.
Maddie, where can our listeners follow you?
You can follow me at Findlay Constructions. It is on the Instagrams, or Findlay Constructions on Facebook, and there'll probably be something up soon of a new TikTok style thing. But
Oh, exciting.
Oh, stay tuned.
stay tuned.
I think we have seen you across the Common Sensei pages.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
featured
been
on there a couple of
I
times.
think
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
featured on our page before
On
as
Built
well.
Different as well, yes.
You are 100% built different.
Yep. Cheers.
In the best kind of way.
Oh, good.
Maddie, thank you so much for coming on today's podcast.
No worries.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you
really
very much.
appreciate it.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Built Different Australia.
That's been another episode of the Built Different podcast, the podcast for tradies that are
Built Different.
built different.